Last Tuesday, CUTV was saddened to learn of the passing of longtime South Union Township sports announcer John Kasaric after battling a lengthy illness. John announced over 2,000 high schools and youth sporting events. Our thoughts and prayers are with John's friends and family. Hello and welcome into another edition of High School Roundup here on CUTV. The regular season is over. It's playoff time here in the Whippeal, and I'm your host for this broadcast, Anthony D'Agostino. Alongside me is my duo of playoff analysts, Danny Beck and Stephen Ruffing. Guys, how you guys doing? It's a great week for football. Was a great week for football.
Yeah.
Last season of regular season football. We're in the playoffs now.
It was exciting to see all the the brackets come out.
Yeah.
I know that we were staying tuned to Twitter and all that, checking out everything. Thanks to our people at MSA and all that. I know a few sources were checked from that, but definitely keeping us in the loop with everything.
Yeah, playoffs. Talking about playoffs.
That's right. Who's in, who is out? We're going to start right in with our single A game of the week. This was a non-conference game between the Bishop Canevin Crusaders and the Carmichael's Mighty Mikes at Carmichael's junior senior high school football field. And Danny, you have the highlights of that. Me and you were calling the game.
Yeah, it was me and you calling the game, not the same time even. So it was kind of a weird broadcast. Or you split the first half, I split the second. It was take a look at it. It's very interesting. But yeah, we're gonna get right started underway. And Bishop Canevin actually getting out of the huddle here. They're gonna drop back in the pocket with Austin Scott. And he's gonna throw it into the arms of Hunter Phillips, and that's gonna be the first drive for Bishop Canevin. And Hunter Phillips is just going to give the Mighty Mikes some great field position to start their first possession of the game, basically. And right here, William Brown is going to score from just about a yard out to put Mighty Mikes on the board, 7-0. And then here, a beautiful play-action pass from Jonathan Christopher to Brennan Pelzer will put them up now 13-0 after a field goal miss, or extra point miss, And that's going to be the first play for Malik Hemingway. And get used to that name. And then Hemingway here on this play, still in the Wildcat and still scoring as he makes a beautiful read to snake through the defense of the Carmichael's Mighty Mikes to grab another score for the Crusaders. And they ran a 2-point conversion. That's why you see the score there, 15-3. And then another score from Malik Hemingway, dragging a few Carmichael's players with him into the end zone. And then right here, again, with a hole you could drive an 18-wheeler through, Hemingway would fly into the end zone for yet another touchdown for the Crusaders. And then Austin Scott mixing the scoring up here, still running with that ground attack. Bishop Canevin gets into the end zone. And then one last run here from Bishop Canevin and Malik Hemingway for the last score of this contest to bring the score to 44-13, and that's how the game will end. And Malik Hemingway would score 5 times in this game, literally a touchdown machine for the Crusaders to help them get this victory. And both teams already in the playoffs, they're just playing for a seeding at this point. And Bishop Canevin was just a tough running game for the Crusaders. And
we talked about in the broadcast that Bishop Canevin is a very speedy team, and we saw that with Malik Hemingway. They had a really nice play. Malik Hemingway was the quarterback in the Wildcat formation. Austin Scott was off to the, I think, left side, and he, basically on a jet sweep, had the ball, and the quarterback looked to pass it down the field, and it was wide open man down the field for Bishop Canevin, and they ended up scoring 44 unanswered points after Carmichael scored the first 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and I wasn't able to go to the game, but I heard you guys were in some some rough conditions up in the press box, having to jump around on announcers. Right, but I'm sure you guys did a great job. It was a great game. It's a lot of highlights.
A lot of cool highlights. But we're going to get into now the bracket for the single A division here in the PIAA. And right here you see at number 1, Clareton. No surprise there. They're taking on number 16, Avella. And then number 8 versus number 9, Fort Cherry versus Stowe Rocks. And then Northgate, number 4, against number 13, Mapletown. And then team we just saw, Bishop Canevin, going to California And Steve, real quick, talk about this Fort Cherry team. And I mean, they were great all season. Now they got to take on a very tough Stowe Rocks.
Yeah, and we'll see how that works out. We don't see really anything of Stowe Rocks, so we don't know how they're going to do. But Fort Cherry, they were dominant all season. Surprising that they got the 8th seed, and it's going to be a challenge against Stowe Rocks. I think that I'm going to say that they're going to be able to come out of this one with a first-round playoff win.
Stowe Rocks?
No, Fort Cherry.
Fort Cherry. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game as we now move over to the right side of the bracket. Rochester, number 2, versus number 15, Riverview. Number 7, Olsh takes on number 10, Amani Christian. Number 3, Jeanette takes on number 14, Shenango. And then a very interesting game. Number 6 takes on number 11, Carmichael versus Springdale. Danny, talk real quick about Carmichael and Springdale and how big this matchup is.
It is a big matchup for Carmichael's, being that they come off a loss to Bishop Canavan this past week. See if they can bounce back. But they won against California and also win over Fort Cherry. So they're a strong team still in Carmichael. So Carmichael's, if they can get this win over Springdale, I mean, they can just keep moving on.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting game indeed. Maybe a pick'em, who knows? As we move now into the AA side of the bracket. Number 1, Steel Valley takes on number 16, Beth Center. Number 8, Chartiers Houston takes on number 9, Laurel. And then number 4, Riverside takes on number 13, Avonworth. Number 5, East Allegheny takes on number 12, Freedom. And Steve, I see a team that you might recognize up there, number 1.
Yeah, number 1, Steel Valley. That is my alma mater, I guess, from high school. I went to school at Steel Valley, and they're looking promising in the playoffs. I do want to say that. You don't want to look ahead too much, but hey, they got the number 1 seed, very well deserved.
Yeah, they had a really good season. They're taking on, as I said, Beth Center. Good luck, Beth Center, against this really tough Steel Valley team. As we move over on to the right side of the bracket, Washington, as the number 2 seed, takes on number 15, Southside Beaver. Number 7, Brentwood takes on number 10, Fraser. Number 3, Neshannock takes on number 14, Sarah Catholic. And then number 6, Burgettstown takes on number 11, North Catholic. Danny, this Brentwood-Fraser game is going to be a very big one. Talk about both teams.
It is going to be a big game for both Brentwood and Fraser, as you said. Fraser, this is a tough test for them, being the lower, 7 and 10, I believe, is that game. But still, Fraser, if they want to move on, they really have to play tough. I know their passing game was strong. They have to keep that up looking forward into the playoffs. All these teams, they have to take advantage of stuff that was working in the regular season and really execute for the playoffs.
I know Fraser's want to come off that loss to, I believe, Chartiers Houston. So when they take on Brentwood at Brentwood, it's going to be very interesting to see who comes out with that victory. As we now move over to the AAA conference bracket here, Aliquippa takes on number 8 South Park. There are only 8 teams in AAA, so Aliquippa takes on number 8 South Park. Number 4 Derry takes on number 5 Central Valley. Number 3 Keystone Oaks takes on the number 6 team Apollo Ridge. And number 2 Beaver Falls takes on the number 7 Mount Pleasant team. And this is a very interesting bracket, and we're going to start right now with Derry Central Valley. Steve, Tyler Baega against the Central Valley team, he looks very promising, but the Central Valley team is also a very good team.
Yeah, Central Valley, they're always a powerhouse. And Derry, this is the first time in a while that they've had such a good season like this, thanks to Tyler Baega. It's going to be difficult for them. This is probably one of the better games that we're going to see, but it's a toss-up. Central Valley, very strong. Derry, very strong running game. If Central Valley, if they can beat their Derry's running game, then Central Valley has this one.
And it's something we have to mention. This bracket includes a team that we think probably should have made the playoffs. They only had, I believe, 2 conference losses, is Beaver. And Beaver got knocked out of the playoffs because they lost to Beaver Falls by 5 points last game on Friday. And they're out of the playoffs. Darius Wise, one of the best players in the Whitfield, is out of the playoffs his senior year. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, and that Beaver Valley Conference, it's tough in the respect that only 3 teams get it. You got to think also, looking forward for recruiting purposes in college and stuff like that, you like to see your recruit or the person that you're recruiting, you want to see them go into the playoffs and stuff like that. That's got to hurt his recruiting process, really.
Yeah, so it's a shame that Darius Wise can't be in the playoffs this year. I saw him last year play against Mount Pleasant. Was a stellar show. and basically won the game for Beaver after coming back from a deficit after halftime. But we're going to take a quick break real quick. When we come back, we have for you the South Union Township highlights when they took on Albert Gallatin, and we have the Quad A, 5A, and 6A brackets. All that and more on High School Roundup right here on CUTV.
CUTV's High School Football Game of the Week. Springdale at Jeff Morgan. Avella at California. Bell Vernon at Ringgold. Greensburg Central Catholic at Charleroi. Waynesburg at Southmoreland. Baldwin at Connellsville. Beth Center at Brownsville. Fraser at Bentwood. Bishop Canavan at Carmichael. The longest running high school coverage in southwestern PA is on CUTV.
CUTV News Center is California University of Pennsylvania's award-winning student television newscast. Your source for live, local, late-breaking news. Forecasts from the CalU Weather Center. The region's latest entertainment news. Vulcan sports highlights and regional scoreboards. With television news coverage you can't get anywhere else. Watch it live Thursdays on CUTV and on demand. CUTV News Center. Online all the time.
And welcome back to High School Roundup on CUTV. We're going to go now into the highlights from the game of the week for South Union Township. Laurel Highlands took on Albert Gallatin at Albert Gallatin. And Steve, as we thought, it was a very close game. And you had the highlights for this one.
It was. LH won. LH got a win. And after the passing of John Kasarek, it's exactly what this Laurel Highlands team needed to finish off strong. Of course, John Kasarek, we talked about him. He loved what he did. And to get this LH team to get a win for their last game, I mean, it was all about pride. So we're going to get right into the highlights here as LH, they get the first touchdown in the first quarter, and that will be the only touchdown in that first half. So we're going to go right into the second half. LH with a huge 50-yard pass from Karwotsky to Chad Petrish, but he's taken down. And after the play, there was a penalty. That got called back. I think it was a block from behind or something like that. But Albert Gallatin, they come back with a huge pass, a 32-yard pass from Llewellyn Dominic to Trayvon Oliver. And there was a flag thrown there, but it was on Laurel Highlands. So that led up to Albert Gallatin touchdown, a 3-yard run by Tavian Mosey. And the first two-point conversion there was a penalty, so they dropped back and went for another one, and a 14-yard pass from Dominic to Mosey again. You see the fans were excited on that one. LH, they come right back with a 22-yard run by Will Karwotsky. You usually see him throwing, but he proves there that he can run the ball. Albert Gallatin getting close to the end of the game after that touchdown. LH kicks it off, a 67-yard kick return by Torrey Robinson. He is brought down, but that will lead into the next highlight there. A 20-yard pass from Dominic to Mosey again. Mosey finds his way into the end zone, but this game would end 17-14. Laurel Highlands, they did get a field goal early in the game to give them that extra 3 points. Again, Laurel Highlands getting that win in their last game, which is absolutely huge for this team.
Yeah, and after John Kasarek passing, this is a storybook win for Laurel Highlands. A great way to finish off the season, as you said. Laurel
Highlands finally getting a win in the win column. Good to see there for them. But we're going to now look into the Quad A brackets for the WIPUL as we see number one, again, there's 8 teams in the Quad A. Number 1, Thomas Jefferson taking on number 8, Montour. Number 4, West Mifflin on a rematch takes on number 5, Bell Vernon. And number 3, Mars takes on the number 6 team, Ringgold. And in the number 2 seed, South Fayette, they took on the number 7, Newcastle. Danny, number 4 versus number 5, it is a rematch yet again. And this is a huge matchup.
Yeah, we were talking actually to our graphics guy over there, Matt Hagee, and he was saying that it's hard to beat a team twice in a season. And we're going to see if West Mifflin can do that. Dorian Johnston, see if he can continue his season. You're always covering West Mifflin, talking about West Mifflin, so that's going to be a big game.
And not only it's hard to beat a team twice in a row, stuff like that, It's also the playoffs. That puts a lot of pressure on you. It's good. Right now, West Mifflin, they're the one that's in trouble right now. Bell Vernon, they're coming off a loss. They want that win. It's the playoffs. It's a whole different atmosphere. West Mifflin really needs to stay true to themselves and try to fight and get this win.
That surprised me. I thought you would have been all on the West Mifflin bandwagon there.
I don't know, because playoffs is a different story. This is a different story. Bell Vernon coming off that loss, they want this win.
That they do. We're going to now move into the 5A bracket here. Number 1, West Allegheny taking on the number 8 team, North Hills. Number 4, Woodland Hills taking on the number 5 team, Franklin Regional. Number 3, McKeesport taking on number 6, Upper St. Clair. And number 2, Armstrong taking on the number 17, Gateway. And Danny, got to mention, Zane Dudek, yet again, he broke more records last week.
Yeah, this is his time. Really, this is when the best players really shine. He leads the WPIAL and state with 2,949 rushing yards and 42 touchdowns. He broke the full season rushing record after gaining 242 yards last Friday. So as you said, just continues to do this. Also a rematch, Armstrong and Gateway. So another game.
I was watching the WPXI's Skylights, and when they were talking about Zane Dudek, they were there for his record-breaking performance. They mentioned in their broadcast that he broke one of LaShawn McCoy's records that he set at, I believe, Bishop McDevitt in Harrisburg. That's huge. I mean, we've seen LaShawn McCoy in the NFL. You know, he was one of the best Eagles running backs, and Zane Dudek broke one of his records.
Yeah, but also you have to mention, he broke all these records. He's not getting D1 looks. It's unheard of. It really is. I mean, I read a story on the Post-Gazette, and he's not getting any looks from D1 schools. How is he going to go to the NFL?
Well, I think they need to make a big playoff run. Yeah. If they make a big playoff run, eyes will be looking. They'll be seeing Zane Dudek here. So I don't think he has to worry too much because he is a fantastic running back.
If he decides to go D2, there are D2 players that go to the NFL.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We've seen some from California. Rontez Miles, one of the defensemen for the New York Jets. And they love him up there. So definitely possible if he goes to D2 that he could go up to the NFL. But now we're going to take a look at the 6A bracket, something we don't usually talk about, but it's playoff time, so we're going to talk about 6A here. Number 1, Central Catholic taking on the number 8 team, Norwin. And a very interesting game. Number 4, Bethel Park taking on the number 5 seed, Pine Richland. And then number 3, Mount Lebanon taking on Seneca Valley. And then number 2 seed, North Allegheny taking on the number 7 team, Hempfield. And Steve, real quick, talk about this Bethel Park team, number 4 seed, playing the number 5 team, Pine Richland.
Yeah, it's always going to be your close game, Bethel Park, Pine Richland, two pretty good football teams. They both have it. It's the playoffs, so they're both going to be looking for that win. I think going to be another close game in these playoffs. We don't talk about 6A that much because, I mean, it's new. It's new to us. So, I mean, it's all up in the air right now with this playoff bracket.
Any thoughts?
Yeah, and even if Pine Richland moves on, Central Catholic moves on, that's setting up a huge matchup. I believe they played this season. Don't get me, I could be wrong on that, but I believe they did play. So that would be another game, a rematch.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to take one more quick break here, and when we come back, we got our pick'em and the top 3 plays. Stay tuned for that right here on High School Roundup on CUTV.
Since 1937, the Student Association Incorporated, known as SAI, has served the CalU student body by providing activities, programs, and services. Every enrolled student has the ability to take part in over 125 different clubs and organizations. Managing participation in every SAI activity is easy with OrgSync, a powerful tool for staying connected. Located 1 mile from campus, the SAI Farm has 94 acres of meeting and recreational space. SAI, it's your student association. For almost 30 years, CUTV has been the campus and community home for local news, sports, and entertainment. Broadcast in 100,000 homes in southwestern Pennsylvania, CUTV provides complete coverage of Vulcan sports as well as high school football coverage. Broadcast weekly live, CUTV News Center provides coverage of local and campus events, weekend weather, sports highlights, and feature stories. For more information on CUTV, check us out on the web, friend us on Facebook, or follow us on Twitter.
And welcome back to High School Roundup on CUTV. Right now, we're going to take a look at our pick'em. this week. And look at the standings, some shaken up standings right here as we see Scott Majeski. He went 2-4, and he's now 38-16. I went 5-1, as did Matt Hagee. So me and him are tied for second, only 2 behind Scott Majeski with a 36-18 record. Zach went 3-3. He's 33-21. Gary went 4-2, as did Clinton Logan. They are both 32-22. As Danny Beck, he went 3-3. He's 32-22. And Jody High Roller, Stephen Ruffing, he went 4-2 and is a perfect 500, 27-27. Steve, any thoughts on your record?
I'm totally all right with that. Can I just throw in the towel now? I'm good with 500. Let me just stay there now. But woohoo! Going for it. 500, baby.
Well, we're gonna take a look at our games that we have picked for this playoff bracket. We have 8 pick'ems this week. California at Bishop Canevin. Danny and Steve, you guys gotta pick your picks now. Everyone so far going Bishop Canevin. Who you pick, Danny?
I'm gonna pick both, like it says up there. No, I'm just playing. I'm gonna pick Bishop Canevin in this one. I think their running game is strong.
What about you, Steve?
You know what? I'll go Bishop Canevin. I was gonna make this the high roller week, but no, I can't do that. Bishop can't. Yeah, I'm gonna go Bishop Canevin.
Bishop Canevin looks like is gonna take over California in our pick'em. But we're gonna keep moving along here. Our number 2 pick'em, Springdale at Carmichael's. I'm picking Carmichael's. So did Clint and Gary. Danny, who you picking?
I'm going to go with Carmichael's. I believe that they're really going to bounce back, use this game as kind of a vengeance game. And I don't know, I think Carmichael's had an off week last week, I believe.
Yeah, I'm going to go Carmichael's as well. They didn't get that number 1 seed, but they did a fantastic job, so they're going to be out for blood in the playoffs.
And I'm picking Springdale. Clinton's picking Springdale. Gary Smith is picking Springdale. I think that after seeing what they did to Jeff Morgan and Carmichael's losing big to Bishop Canevin, I think Springdale's got what it takes. So we'll see what happens. But we're gonna keep moving along here as we see Laurel taking on Chartiers Houston. Danny, who you picking?
I don't know much at all about Laurel. I've heard a lot about Shark Houston, so I'm going to go with Shark Houston in this one. I'm going to stick with the one that's everybody's going with, so I guess. What are you guys making a face at me for? What's going on here?
This is a perfect opportunity to do high roll of the week. I'm going to go Laurel, baby. I'm going to go Laurel. Everyone's going Shark Houston. Why not? Just going to toss that one up there. This is going to give me the extra edge, I feel like, for next week.
As we move along now, no words on that. Fraser at Brentwood. After seeing Fraser taking on Chartiers Houston and falling there, I'm going to say Brentwood, as is everyone else. But Danny, what are you picking?
I'm sticking with Fraser. Believe it or not, I am sticking with Fraser. I think that their passing game is going to come out, and I'm just going to go against everybody else. This is not a high roll of the week because I'm not sticking with the Jody high roll or anything like that. But I am going to go with Fraser.
Steve, you're shocked.
I'm going to go Brentwood. I'm crazy. I'm not that crazy.
And we're going to keep moving along here. So. And no fisticuffs break out on the set. Central Valley taking on Derry, and this one is a toss-up if I have ever seen one. Derry, Tyler Baega, one of the best guys in the Whippeal, and I'm picking Derry.
Talk about eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Yeah,
really,
right.
This one is up in the air. I'm gonna stick with Central Valley on this one. I think that Derry's had a great season, actually one of their best seasons since 1983. And I think that it's going to come to an end here against Central Valley.
I'm going to move over to the CV side, and I'm going to go Central Valley as well. I just think that Central Valley just has a lot more to offer than Derry. I mean, Tyler Baega is a fantastic running back, don't get me wrong. But I think Central Valley just has a lot more, just a bigger school. And they have more experience in the playoffs.
We're going to keep moving along here. It's Bell Vernon taking on West Mifflin. And everyone's going West Mifflin. Danny, who you going with?
Throwing up the WM, I think West Mifflin's going to take this one in this contest.
Steve?
Yeah, as much as it kills me to go West Mifflin, I'm going to have to, but I still think that they have to be on their toes in this game. All eyes are on them to win this game, so I think that they really have to step up more than they did in the regular season.
We're moving along now to Franklin Regional at Woodland Hills. Everyone going Woodland Hills except for Scott right now. He's going Franklin Regional. Danny?
No, Clint.
Oh, excuse me, Clinton
Yeah.
Logan. Danny, who you got?
Although Woodland Hills, I believe they're 8-2, 7-2,
Yeah.
something like that. I think that this is the season where they're kind of be shaken a little bit. I'm actually going to move over to Franklin Regional. I don't know. I just think that Franklin Regional is going to take down Woodland Hills.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay Woodland Hills. Yeah, they looked a little shaky, but with Coach Novak, I mean, they're a great team. They're an experienced team, so I'm gonna stay over the Woodland Hills.
As we move along to the last one, Seneca Valley at Mount Lebanon. I'm picking Seneca Valley. I'm going with the upset on this one. Upset alert. And I think Seneca Valley has a chance to beat Mount Lebanon. Danny, Steve, what are your picks? Start with Steve.
Looks a little roomy over there, Anthony. You mind if I come join you over there in the cozy Seneca Valley section?
Step on over, Mr.
Oh,
High
I'm
Roller.
stepping over.
You know, Seneca Valley's student section is one of the best in the Whippeal. And, you know, I think that the Seneca Valley and their student section is going to help them get a win in this contest. I'm going to go over with Seneca Valley as well.
Look at that. 4-on-4. Who
Just
is
like
going to
that.
come away with the victory?
Just like that.
Which is, it's going to be very interesting. These are some of the, most interesting pick'ems because it's playoffs.
Yep.
Anything can happen in the playoffs.
Exactly.
In a lot, Danny District 3, there's a lot of upsets that happen right away. And I haven't seen it a lot in the Whippeal, but it could happen.
Maybe out your way, a lot more
District
upsets
3,
happen.
District 3.
But not over here, not with CD, not with any of those other teams. Although when CD plays CV, Cumberland Valley, those are some shaky games. But yeah, out towards your way a little bit more, not my way.
District 3. We're in District 7, Jack.
That we are, and we're going to go into our top 3 plays with that. And some very good top 3 plays. We're going to start with number 3, Danny. Take it away.
Yeah, Malik Hemingway, just a touchdown machine, as I mentioned. Austin Scott coming across the set, and he's going to take this one all the way into the end zone as Bishop Canavan takes down Carmichael's.
Yeah, and number 2, Malik Hemingway again. Look how he just explodes off his line there and just goes right through the defense. Barely even touched, just goes right up, finds his hole, finds his way to the end zone.
And number 1, this is the Albert Gatlin 2-point conversion from 14 yards out. Pass from Dominic all the way in the back of the end zone to Mosey with one toe into the end zone for the 2-point conversion for Albert Gatlin. What a play, but is it going to unseat Dorian Johnson? No, sir, it will not. Dorian Johnson on this punt return there doesn't look like he's going to get it. And then he will go back for a very long punt return for a touchdown and just breaking all sorts of different tackles and then just amazing run by Dorian Johnson. This is why West Mifflin, one of the best teams in their conference, and he gets that touchdown there on the punt return. But guys, next week, we're going to have a lot of highlights.
Yeah, a lot of highlights. See, I mean, and that's what it is. We're going to be doing a lot of games. We're still trying to figure out how many exactly we're going to go, but we're going to have at least 3 games of highlights.
At least 3. We're going, hopefully, to go out to do some highlights for you guys. CUTV can't broadcast full-length games, so we won't have a game of the week. I believe Laurel Highlands will, so we will have. Laurel Highlands actually is out of the playoffs. My bad. So
Hey, watch it, buddy.
I mean, they would if they were in the playoffs. But so CUTV is not going to do any more full-length games. However, we have a crew of a bunch of different guys that like to go out and do some highlights. We're going to go out through the Whippeal and be like a news station. Go out and take some highlights and bring them back for you for this show. Next week is our last playoff show. It's our last show of the week. So just because it's playoffs doesn't mean it's completely over. So next week you're going to want to tune in because it's the last show of the season before Thanksgiving break and whatnot. So going to be very interesting. And I'm thinking about it now. They actually may not be the last show of the season. Stay tuned.
Hey, guy, you're jumping the gun on us here.
Yeah, you are. I was kind of
leaving
confused.
us out to dry here, Dan.
I'm trying to remember because last year I think we did another show after the highlight show, which was this one coming up. So we do have 2 more shows left, and so next week is a highlight show. The week after that, most likely we won't have highlights for you, but we're going to basically talk about all the brackets, how it's going to go before Thanksgiving break and whatnot. But next week, stay tuned for highlights. If you have any highlight videos you want to share with us, you can tweet them at CUTV_PA, hashtag HSR2016. If you go to any games, take some pictures and send them to us because it may end up on our show. So thanks again for watching. For Danny Beck and Stephen Ruffing, my analysts right there, doing a great job analyzing some playoff football. Thanks again for watching. Everyone in the studio, thanks for all the great work you do. Gary Smith, our director. I'm Anthony D'Agostino. Thanks for watching High School Roundup on CUTV.